This is Marky Mark Markellis from Soul Wizard Podcast, and you are listening to the Geek World All-Stars Podcast Network.
Welcome to the continued podcast adventures of Superhero Speak.
But I think many of the people that love this character and that love superheroes in general have used these stories as inspiration to say, you know what, I'm going to do something good in the world. I'm going to make a difference like my hero when I was a kid.
That is my fondest memory of it, because when you're doing comic books, you want them to affect people.
Right.
You want people to care. You want to strike emotions. And I knew that Clone Saga was striking a lot of emotions.
Can you imagine Pulp Fiction starring Goofy and Mickey Mouse?
I can totally imagine that.
I'm sure somebody's written that one
quarter
too.
pounder with cheese and France, Mickey? What? Boy, ale with cheese. Yeah, I can totally.
See?
I would watch the hell out of that movie.
Yes, I gladly sacrifice up my progeny to you, almighty Marvel beast.
But Neil Adams is somewhere going, it's my time.
How do you measure success?
Hey everyone, you're listening to Superhero Speak. And I'm your host Dave.
And John.
JD here.
And we are back together again. We were here last week, so nothing's changed in that regards.
Nope.
So how was your guys' week? John, do anything exciting this week?
Absolutely, boring, with the exception of, all right, so I haven't written anything really for 2 weeks, and I'm trying to get back into it, because the date messed me up. I know we're not talking about that, but I went back to Scrivener, and I'm trying to, apparently, the Mac version has a timeline function, but the Windows doesn't. So I'm trying to figure out how to get a timeline going so that I can actually organize my timeline, because my timeline for my books is huge, and there's so much going on that I need to get it organized to just continue on from where I am.
Maybe you need to get a Mac.
Yeah, no, I am not a Mac person. I do not like Macs.
Mac guy over here.
Yeah, I heard you, Mac. Okay, so sure. So otherwise, I spent hours playing around with that. That's the extent. That's how exciting my life gets these days.
Yeah, wonderful. How about you, JD?
Had that birthday I was talking about last week.
Yeah, the big 4-0.
Yeah, got a horrible case of the flu the next day, so I really learned to appreciate it. It was life's way of saying, hey, you're alive. You got that going for you.
The immune system is the first thing to start going.
And I'm fine now. And then on the weekend, we qualified 6 kids to the state tournament, 4 champions at the sectional. We have really good draws this week for state. I'm very happy camper.
Oh, cool.
Cool.
Dave?
Sounds like you're a champion all around.
Someone said.
Me? I don't know. Nothing too exciting. Did go to a movie, with my son this weekend, which we actually will talk about a little later in the podcast.
Because I wanted to hear about that, because I've been talking about that with other people at work. And,
actually, I did do something, hold please, the siren's going by.
What'd you do this time, Dave?
No, there must be a fire around here. I live near a fire station, so it's always an issue.
I can see you live near a fire.
No, So everyone knows I'm going to the gym. In fact, I went today and I really pushed myself, and I'm still sore as we are recording at 8:30 at night.
Good.
Me too.
And I'm a big Jack Black fan, right? And he turns 50 this year. And he has decided for his 50th year on this planet, he's going to get into shape and he wants to get buff, right? And have you guys seen the video he has online?
So he's going to join the Marvel universe?
Well, he hired a personal trainer who actually helped train some of the actors for the Marvel movie. And
cool.
And he has a video with this guy online, and they're working out with a kettlebell.
Kettlebells are good.
And I was like, that's interesting. And the trainer's talking about how, a lot of the Marvel stars use the kettlebells to get into shape. And I read an article. I was like, is that true? And I looked up Chris Hemsworth, and, when he first got hired to play Thor, the main thing he said he did was he started using a kettlebell to gain muscle. So,
you know what the workout needs? more kettlebell.
Boo! Boo!
No, now that you're 40, you have to appreciate jokes like that.
Boo!
No, it's a dad joke. You have to like it. It's part of the group now.
No. Boo!
So, I did buy one, and I'm trying to really learn how to use it because it's not as easy as you would think.
No, there's technique involved. The kettlebell swing,
Yes.
actually, there's a lot of technique and motion involved, and if you do it wrong, you're going to throw out your back.
And the thing is, I can tell when I do it wrong and I can tell when I do it right. And you can really feel it when you do it right, you know?
You should be working with a trainer, to be quite honest with you, when you're starting the kettlebell stuff, because there is a lot of technique and fundamentals that go into that, and the last thing you want is to really screw that up.
Well, I found a couple good videos online. I found this one where it's this guy, and I think he's putting on an act, and he's doing the stereotypical, like, 80s Russian type guy, like, you know, Russian is strong, and he's like seriously showing you how to use the kettlebell and how to properly do squats and whatnot, and I was like, okay, but I can't get past the facade that he's putting on, you know? But yeah, so I've got that going.
I'm lucky. I can't do anything like that because of my vertebra.
Oh, you can, you just don't.
No, seriously, I can't. Like, I've been using 4-pound weights on the treadmill.
Yeah.
And I'll do 3 miles with them, and my chiropractor told me to stop because I was losing strength in my arm again, which is a sign that the vertebrae is pressing back down on my nerve. So I can't like do actual upper body strength workouts anymore.
I was doing bench presses with the 100-pound dumbbells today.
I hate you.
Yeah, I'm not quite there yet. I do curls with 80 pounds.
That's impressive.
Right now, and I'm doing there's a tricep machine that I started using. I brought that up to like 120 pounds today, and which shocked me that I was able to do it. And then leg presses at like 140. So
good.
Yeah,
that's what
I'm gonna be able to beat up John soon. That's my goal.
Yeah, no, you'll have to catch me first.
Whoops, that ass.
But yeah, no, it's interesting. I'll let you guys know my progress with it, and hopefully I don't break a toe.
Proud of you, man. Don't drop it on the toes, and you should be okay.
Because that's the other thing. Every instructional thing that you find online about the kettlebell, it's like you should do it barefoot.
Yeah, I've never seen anyone lift barefoot.
Because
like in the real world.
Because it's because a lot of your weight's on your heels, and you stand more properly when you're barefoot. I'm like, that scares me.
We're both LA Fitness guys. I'm fairly certain it's a no shoes, no service environment.
Yes, I'm pretty sure of that too. So
I'm sure if you show them the YouTube video that says you should.
Oh yeah, exactly. All right. Well, enough of that nonsense. Let's talk about internet nonsense. With some social media
nonsense, right? That's for sure.
So, starting off, of course, we had talked about Birds of Prey underperforming opening weekend last weekend, and J House 10 at J House 71.
He's a J House. Sorry.
Said if it was a Harley Quinn movie only, it would have performed better, in my opinion. If Warner Brothers DC Comics want quality, they should have cast actors who played in the DC TV series.
It's all over the place on that one. It was marketed as a Harley Quinn movie.
Yes, very much so. Marketed as a Harley Quinn movie, and from my understanding, the Birds of Prey aren't even in the movie until like the last 20 minutes. So, yeah, maybe they didn't see the movie.
Oh, I think the vast majority of people commenting on this film, including the three of us, have not seen this movie.
Yes. Yeah, it's a shame. We'll see it soon, right, guys?
Actually, I was going to see it this past weekend, but something came up, so seriously, I'll see it next weekend, I guess. I mean, it's still, like, right now, it's still 79% on the Tomatometer, and the audience score is 79 too, which is still better than we thought.
Yeah.
What is the tomato meter?
Tomatometer.
Tomato. Let's call the whole thing off. It's the dad joke hour.
Nobody gets that reference, dude. That reference was old when we were young.
Dean Martin, right?
Possible. Well, I'm sure Dean Martin recorded a version of that song. All right. Well, so we talked about the one and only John Krasinski said he would love to play Reed Richards in a Marvel reboot of the Fantastic Four, and Timothy Jones, of course, our one of our favorite writers, responded with, "As long as he gets a cool office."
That's nothing but a bunch of sour grapes. See what I did there? Yeah.
Ooh.
You're welcome, Tim.
That's too easy. Try hard.
God.
Why? We're podcasters.
Exactly.
Yeah,
we're old men podcasters. And Earthworm Jason said, I mean, he'd do a good job, but I'd love to see a fresh face. I don't know. I mean,
no, you wouldn't.
My thing with that is like, okay, so he's been on 2 TV shows, and what movies has he been in? I'm not sure. Oh, A Quiet Place. Yeah.
Those Jack Ryan things were TV. They weren't movies.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, that was on Amazon Prime. So it's like, like he's not like he's a known name, but he's not a huge star yet. So I think he's fairly fresh. And
Certified fresh.
Yeah. I hope Reed Richards gets a good office.
Boom, boom.
So, this was something that came up over the last week, which is so weird because it goes in with our poll from last week, where we talked about movies that should be rebooted from the 80s, and we had said Ghostbusters. And did you guys see the deep fake of Robert Downey Jr. and Tom Holland in Back to the Future?
No,
that was freaky.
Oh, it's scary how good it looks and how much Tom Holland actually does look like Michael J. Fox.
He looks like he could have done a good job in that movie.
Yes, like there's a stark difference when you see Robert Downey Jr.'s face on Chris Lloyd.
Yeah.
But
yeah, well, it's kind of hard to fake that. But
like, it's a good blending of Tom Holland on Michael J. Fox. It's like, wow, it looks natural. Like, there isn't much of a difference. Like, they could be related in some way. So we had tweeted out that clip, and Marvel Universe Online replied, "Nope. If it has to happen, here's my Doc and Marty." And of course, it's still Tom Holland as Marty, but Jeff Goldblum as Doc Brown. So I don't know. I thought it was interesting. Let's see what your guys' take on that was.
Yeah.
Nah.
Well, I mean, we're getting to the point now where they could actually take like anything, anybody, and make a movie around them without them actually being.
Well, that's true too, and that's kind of scary. When does the animated or robots take over the acting?
Well, yeah, the technology for doing the likenesses is there. Like right now, it's there. As long as they spend enough money and do enough passes when they're rendering the graphics, but the acting itself is still a little bit off because just doing they're in anime, they can do a good portrayal of a character, but getting what makes a specific actor getting his je ne sais quoi or whatever, that's hard.
Yeah. No, that's true, but I don't think we're far off from that, unfortunately. All right, so guys.
So, like, on that subject, I listened to a writing podcast, and one of the big players in independent publishing is a woman named Joanna Penn, and she was talking about how in the next 2 years, you're going to be able, and this might be overestimating the timing, but you'll be able to license AI voices for your audiobooks. So like if I want Samuel L. Jackson to read my book, I pay a fee to have his voice, and the AI reads my book like he was Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
Awesome for someone like me, terrifying
for like someone like Samuel Jackson.
No, he'll get paid. It'll be great for him.
Oh, okay.
But think about that. Like, what do you can't trust anything that you hear or see anymore.
Oh no, no, that's. I think that's been true for a long time. It's just getting worse.
I concur.
Yeah. All right. So, oh yeah. Speaking of podcasts, before we do our last thing for social media madness.
Speaking of podcasts
and actors and whatnot, it just made me realize I was going to say this earlier and I forgot. So I was listening to a podcast this past week. It was So Wizard, and they were talking about upcoming movies, and of course they were talking about the Black Widow movie.
Yeah.
And Aubrey from the podcast made a very interesting point, and I wanted to get your guys' take on this. She said she doesn't think people care about Black Widow the character. They only care about her because Scarlett Johansson plays her.
I think there's something to that.
Yeah, I mean, the comic book people, people who are really heavily invested in the comic books probably care more about her, but like the general public, Scarlett Johansson makes that character.
They haven't given us much to care about in the movies. Like, she's kind of only there in the first couple of Avengers movies to play off Clint and then Captain America and then Hulk.
I mean, we've gotten glimpses of, how she feels about her past and the thing about her being barren and all. And, but there hasn't been that one moment that really, sets it in stone that, oh yeah, this is somebody we can relate to or feel sorry for or something or anything. And nothing to anchor the audience's caring.
No, I feel like the only thing she's had that really felt like good character stuff was in this last movie. And I do feel like having this one come out afterwards kind of cheapens it a little bit, seeing as if they don't deliver on something,
Unless it was planned.
Well, I know it's planned, but I want to know what the plan is. At the moment, it feels cheap, but I'm willing to revise my thought. But I just want to,
Yeah, that is an excellent point, and it kind of made me wonder, will the movie underperform because of that, factor? So we'll see.
I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know either. I think I don't think it's going to be a knock it out of the park, blockbuster like all the other Marvel movies. But I think it'll do just as well as their lower performing movies, because people are going to see it just because it's a Marvel movie too.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, but I don't think it's going to be a over 300 million in a week kind of movie.
I don't think it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think the budget on this one is quite as high. I think this is more in the Ant-Man.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's what they're planning for. It's their They're bug movies. They don't put as much money in them and they don't make as much. Except for spiders that are men. Anyway, so we talked about reboots, of course, last week and the Fantasy Island movie coming out from Blumhouse. They remaking a 70s TV show as a horror movie. So we had said, what 70s TV show should Blumhouse reboot next as a horror film? And our options were Sanford and Son, Three's Company, MASH, and Land of the Lost. And, in order from lowest to highest, Sanford and Son got 20% of the vote. MASH got 20.9%. Three's Company was doing very well for a while and got 24.3%. In fact, I thought they were going to win. But no, Land of the Lost pulled ahead at 34.8%. Which, I mean, it's interesting.
For some conservatives, Three's Company was a horror story.
That was actually the hook.
Yeah.
Yes, but it was also a much different time. So we got some comments on it. Random Randy Savage said, Three's Company with a bit of Knives Out type mystery. One writer living with two girls who is secretive about his comings and goings, but charming. A female detective and a nurse with a bubbly personality.
I'd actually watch that.
Oh, and then he said, one of them is a killer.
It's the nurse.
It's always the nurse.
And then, of course, I had replied to him that you had said Sanford and Son was pretty close to Texas Chainsaw Massacre for a setup.
Because it is.
And he said that's true, too, a Black Chainsaw Massacre. Tell this is a job somewhere in the world where I just make up shit based on other shit and get paid for it. Tell me, I think that's what he meant to say. Tell me there's a job.
It's called writer.
Yes. That's what most writers do, Randy. Superhero Poll Plus had sent us a GIF from Land of the Lost. Wow. Were the costumes really that bad back then?
Was the 70s.
Yeah. They were, it was good for, you know,
when you can
TV
see the
show.
When you can see the creases in the costume.
Well, yeah, but
morning TV show too, like
yeah.
bars.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, you're coming off of like the 60s where, you know, basically costumes were, well, this girl's green, so she's obviously from an entirely different planet. You know, or we put a couple of ripples on a person's nose, which of course they were still doing in the 90s. So
yeah, well, let's be real, the Star Trek costumes weren't that great.
No, they weren't. No, you're right. Oddity Madness in the Marsh of Indiegogo.
Whoa.
Oh, in the Marsh on Indiegogo. Okay. The temptation is Land of the Lost, but who doesn't want to see a Three's Company murder spree?
It's too bad Don Knotts isn't around for that anymore. Because him with actual murder and mayhem would be great TV.
Oh my God, yeah.
Dan, at Made by Dan, said, do Charlie's Angels. I don't think anyone's doing anything with that lately.
Not anything good.
Is that the most rebooted property of all time?
It might be. It might very well be.
Why does it feel like, I don't know, I feel like there's something else, but I can't off the top of my head think of anything that's been rebooted that many times.
Besides Spider-Man?
Basically. Yeah.
John T. Papadia said, they already did a reboot of Land of the Lost. The horror part was having Will Ferrell and Danny McBride in it.
Oh, no. See, did they? What?
They did. No, that did happen.
And,
well, it was so bad that we don't remember it, so. Oh my God, that's right. Will Ferrell was in. Oh God, that's horrible.
And then John E. Armstrong, who I don't think listens to the podcast, remember MASH was set during a real war. They had enough horrors of its own, but I don't think a horror movie could do it justice. John, you're not understanding the joke behind it.
Yeah, it's a gag, brother.
It's a gag. You need to listen to the show and understand where they came from. So.
And besides, you could do with how what's his name at the end of MASH was going nuts. It could easily be a psychological thriller.
That's pretty much what you pitched. That's how you pitched it last week.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what are you gonna do? All right. Well, that's social media madness for the week, and here I am with a message on how you can learn more, get more social media madness.
Are you enjoying the show? Do you want to be part of our social media madness? Well, then make sure you're following Superhero Speak. Go to superheroespeak.com and you can find all our social media links at the top of the page. And don't forget to check the page often, because we are posting comic book reviews every day, plus comic book news, movie news, and you can even find old episodes of the podcast while you're there. And when you go follow us on Twitter at Superhero Speak, also don't forget to follow the Geek World All-Stars Podcast Network. You can find them at stars_geek. Those podcasts are the Pop Prism Power Podcast, Cult 45, So Wizard, Fans on Patrol, Gorilla Brain Podcast, and yours truly, Superhero Speak. Also, search for the hashtag GW All-Stars while you're on there. You won't be disappointed.
All right,
like a message on how to tolerate social media madness.
All right, boys and girls.
I wasn't going to say it, but I was thinking it.
We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
And we're back. All right, guys. So we had a couple first looks this week, and the most recent one, we got a first look at Woody Harrelson in Venom 2 as Cletus Cassidy. And
Looked so freaky at the end of the first movie. How are they having somebody so old playing Cletus?
Works for me. It's Woody Harrelson, man. It's the guy from Natural Born Killers. I mean,
I know.
I was going to say, thank God he's not wearing that horrible wig, though, he was wearing in Venom.
Truth.
Yeah.
This is truth.
Yeah. And, of course, he's got a red and yellow Hawaiian shirt on. You know, goes red for Carnage.
What's the yellow for?
I don't know. Confuse people. Throw them off so they know it's not, they don't quite know if it's Carnage or not. So
Okay.
are we like, we talked about this on the show, and we have said that in the 90s, Venom and Carnage was one of the most overplayed pairings in comics. Are we excited to see him on the big screen at all?
Nope, not at all. Not even close.
Even with Woody Harrelson playing him?
No, because it's Venom. I mean, I don't know. Man, between that and Birds of Prey, I don't know which one I'd go see if I could only pick one.
I don't know. JD, you're being quiet.
I have water running through the sump pump. Hang on.
Oh, okay.
If they do something with the cameo they had with Vulture, if that turns out to be a big part of the movie, like if the whole movie turns into a setup for the Sinister Six, okay, then you got something.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of feels like it might be, you know, or at least a good start to it.
The problem is it'd be a fine line between, you know, like the Marvel side of we did this thing that everybody thought was impossible and everybody loves it, and the Spider-Man 3, why do we have so many villains? So,
yeah,
you know, it's going to be hard.
I've always said the thing that hurt Spider-Man 3 was Venom wasn't originally supposed to be part of that movie, and Sony was pressuring Sam Raimi to do it, because everyone likes Venom, so that's why that storyline feels tacked on in that movie.
Because it was tacked on.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm back now. I have nowhere to see Venom 2, but I think the casting is great, and I'd be willing to check it out on a flight.
Yeah. That's about, if you were in a seat where you couldn't get off and you were forced to watch it, yeah, I'd watch it too.
All right. Well, there you go.
That would be something that if I was on the treadmill and there was nothing else on except like coverage of Trump, I would watch that instead.
If my choice was between a colonoscopy and watching Venom 2.
I'd have to think about it. Right. Okay.
Did you guys actually see Venom 1?
No, I haven't seen it yet. I
We're
probably
awfully hard of this movie we've never seen.
Yeah.
No, I've seen Venom.
Oh, what'd you think?
It was okay, but it was PG. I mean, why didn't they make it R, for crying out loud? You can't PG-13 somebody's head off screen. Come on.
You could.
You could.
Shouldn't.
But and the ending was. I mean, it was only okay. That's about the best I can go for that.
Yeah.
Between the interaction and the other Venom and the storyline and some of the really, really stupid things they did in there, I just, I can only give it an okay. Like, it is not, I've seen it once, I will not seek it out again, and if it were on TV and I were on the treadmill, I would turn to find something else.
The problem is that the R rating thing is, you do lose a large portion of your audience when you go to R.
Typically.
Typically, unless you're Deadpool.
Yeah, that's the exception that proves the rule, though.
Right. I think a lot of critics are pointing to the R rating for Birds of Prey as part of the reason it's underperforming. So yeah, I do think that's a problem in that respect.
Well, no, that was that was the movie. I mean, come on, it's Harley Quinn. If they'd done it right, if they'd done a good job with the storyline and everything.
But nobody knows. Nobody knows if they did it right or not. Like the audience scores are good. The problem is no one's going to see it. Like, so the marketing campaign either failed or the public just doesn't really want it. And why is that? Probably because Suicide Squad burned a bunch of people.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah. People are kind of burnt out on the DC stuff in general, which Wonder Woman is going to be a test to that.
And I also kind of think if you're out with your family and you're trying to think of a movie to go take your kids to, and you see Harley Quinn up there, but it's rated R, and right next to it is Jumanji, the new Jumanji movie, or now Sonic the Hedgehog, you're going to go, well, they're both PG movies. I'm going to take my kids to one of those. You know?
Which you should take them to anyway. You know, like this, I just don't think the property, even the Harley Quinn character, is really meant for that kind of an audience, but maybe that's
not really, no.
Yeah. So, speaking of characters and bold moves, as some would say, of course, we all know that the Eternals will feature the first openly LGBT character in the Marvel Universe. And
Cue the apocalypse.
And it has been confirmed that it will be Phastos? Is that how you say his name?
Maybe. Like, I guess the whole thing with this is, like, it seems... I don't want to use the term token, but I mean, like, these are not characters that anybody knows about, so it could be whatever. It could be...
Yeah, it would be portrayed by Brian Trey Henry, which was going to say. Yes, that's my thing, is that they're picking this movie because I feel like...
It's
easy, right. Like, oh, no one's going to care about these characters. But then again, you could throw North Star into a movie.
Well, I agree. That's what I was going to say, too. The North Star probably should have been in an X-Men movie at some point. Everyone else was. So, I mean, this one seems like an easy one to me. I'll just put him in that. Yeah, no one knows who that is, so no one can get mad. No one can say we changed somebody. Because they probably did. I mean, I've read a bunch of comic books, and I know nothing about the Eternals.
Well, I mean, the problem I have is people get mad at stupid stuff. Like, people get mad at Batwoman. It's like, oh, they changed Batman to a woman and made her gay. It's like, read a damn comic book.
Yeah, I know. I told you, I ran into that when I went to see it. That it basically, when somebody said that, I can't, they were like, well, you know, I wish all this PC culture they'd stop changing the superheroes. I'm like, no, that's her entire story, is that she's a lesbian, and that's part of her origin.
So yeah, I mean, and exactly though, you're right, like, JD, that even if they put North Star into a movie and showed him, you know, have a husband,
people would be mad. There'd still be someone mad about it. Like, the internet is just to fuel pocket rage. And we should all just ignore what anyone says on the internet. Unless it's up from superheroespeak.com.
Exactly.
Nice.
Yeah, no, it's tough because, yeah, you're gonna get backlash on this, and it's like, but why? You know, what's the big deal? You know? Now, I think if they had Captain America and Iron Man making out in the scene, people would, you know, get upset and might have a reason to.
No, we're not doing fan fiction on this show.
Oh, no? Darn it.
No, hard pass, no.
How about me and Chris Hemsworth? Oh, wait.
No. Well, you did all but say you want his body.
You do want to cosplay Thor, so.
Exactly. You guys are starting to get it.
There's something there.
Oh, dear goddess. Just move on. Moving forward.
All right. So, I think it's kind of cool. We're probably going to see this movie for the podcast.
I'm not excited about this movie.
I'm not either.
Yeah.
Not regardless of whether the character's gay or not. Like,
right.
There's just nothing in this movie so far that's made me go, man, I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Right. So we shall see, folks. You know, we'll talk more about it as more comes out, but hopefully it will be loved and accepted by all. All right.
Mercilessly vilified. One or the other.
Yes.
Yes.
It'll probably be both. All right. So we had talked about the future of the MCU, and
we always do. I feel like that's 90% of what we do.
Well, you know, considering the box office returns and all that, it's, you know, what else is there to talk about? New Mutants? Well,
that's gonna come out, man. That's no longer like a movie within a movie, or a fictitious movie, or a Roger Corman Fantastic Four. It's a real movie.
Nice.
That's good. All right. So
He wanted to be a real movie.
It's Pinocchio.
We had talked about the possibility of them setting up Kang the Conqueror as the future MCU bad guy.
You did.
And according to sources, this was on ScreenRant.com. So we can I don't know how much we can say is set in stone at this point. But according to them, Kang will be featured in the Loki miniseries on Disney Plus. Of course.
If he's hopping around time in that one, right?
Yes.
Interesting.
What's the name of the time? The people the agency that takes care of time and cleans up anomalies.
Time Cops?
Well, they're not called Time Cops in the Marvel comics.
That was Van Damme.
No, we're not doing Van Damage here.
Van Damage Control.
Yes.
That's what they should be called.
Oh my god. Anyway,
the TVA or Time Variance Authority?
That's it, thank you. Yes, the Time Variance Authority, because again, that quick scene we got of Loki in the Super Bowl commercial, his jail suit that he's wearing has TVA on it. Of course, apparently the TVA has dealt with Kang in the comics as well. So, according to the source, he will be featured in the show. Now, does that mean he is going to be the main future Marvel baddie? That has yet to be seen. But the fact that he is being set up in the show does give some interesting possibilities, don't you think, guys?
Duh.
I was coughing. Sorry. Yeah, I do. I think this is good. I think it could be the bad guy. I think that having a time villain is interesting than just having a universal, threat.
Right. Well, it's going to make it a lot harder for the storylines because again, we've talked about this before. Every time you add time travel to something, you're ready to. You're basically like putting your foot in the fire and hoping for the best.
But that's why this I think works because we have a reason for it. Like because we screwed up with the time stream before this, now we have a reason as to why.
Yeah, just they got to be careful with it.
I think it's also like one of the things I said after we reviewed Endgame is it's very dangerous once you introduce time travel because then it becomes. And I understand they kind of swept it under the rug with how they did time travel in the movie, but it's kind of like, well, why can't you just go back and fix every mistake going forward? And the fact that they're introducing the TVA and, bringing that all about, maybe that's a way to put a lid on that whole thing. Like, we don't time travel because we know messing with the time stream causes bigger ripple effects.
Which it also becomes a plot point. So, you can't do this because the TV, it works. The whole thing makes sense.
Blah, 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 timey-wimey, fix points in time, and suddenly you've got Doctor Who on your tail.
Bingo.
Yes, exactly. But
or Rick and Morty, one of them.
But yeah, no, it could be cool to see Kang. The question is, will he be, the same character from the comics? I don't think so. Right? Because he's Reed Richards' son, correct?
Why, a great-grandson, I believe.
Oh, great-grandson, okay.
Yeah, Reed Richards' son is the reality-bending guy. Yeah, the guy who can, basically create universes.
Right, okay, yes. Because,
But they have them. But I mean, what better way another good way to bring them in? You also have to mention that Kang is there if you don't want to. You don't have to say who he is, or like I said, it's a good way to bring the Fantastic Four stuff in.
Yeah.
I think he should be Nathaniel Richards.
All right then. I think you're right. But
just remember, Nathaniel Richards is a mutant, right?
No, Nathaniel Gray is a mutant.
I thought Reed Richards' son was a mutant.
Franklin Richards is a mutant.
Right, Franklin Richards, he's a mutant, right. So, you're going to have the time travel bring in, say, the Fantastic Four, and what's her name? Scarlet Witch also messing things up and turning their son into a mutant. It's going to be that's going to be fun.
Possibly.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. You put in time travel, you put it in Marvel's case, you bring in, reality warping, and suddenly, you can do a lot, sure, but you have to make sure that it makes sense, or you start losing plot lines, entire plot lines.
Oh, I know. I mean, the whole thing's crazy too, because the whole idea of you can't change anything in the past, but yet you can bring people from the past forward and all that stuff just gets crazy.
Well, no, you're not bringing them from your past, you're bringing them from another time.
Exactly, and it starts getting nuts, and then it's like, you can't explain anything, so they have to put a lid on it, I think.
See, Dragon Ball Z actually did that. That's the time travel in Dragon Ball Z. You can go backward in time, but you don't affect your own time.
Okay. Anyway. I don't think Japanese anime has the answer for everything, John.
Well, if you look hard, it does.
So anyway, I had said that I saw a movie this weekend.
Yeah,
I saw Sonic the Hedgehog.
What'd you think?
It was actually pretty good. Whenever you go to see a video game movie in the theater, you automatically expect it to be a train wreck, right? I mean, let's be honest.
Well, yeah,
100%.
Unless it's done by Uwe Boll, and then you bring popcorn because it may be bad, but it's good bad. I mean,
yeah. So, I was just shocked. Jim Carrey was really good in the movie. Much better than the last couple movies I've seen him in. And, I can't think of the guy's name. The main actor who was in the movie. Not the guy who does the voice of Sonic. The main human.
The main human.
James Marsden.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
He was really good in the movie. He was really good for acting against the tennis ball.
It's tough,
it's gotta be. And the box office kind of proved that it was a good movie. So the Sonic earned, where is it? $58 million its opening weekend, and Birds of Prey with, what was it? $19.6 million this weekend. So, okay, here it is. $58 million over the weekend, and it's projected to hit $70 million through Monday for, Sonic. Yes. So basically, yeah, Birds of Prey couldn't outperform the Hedgehog.
Well, there's a lot of 90s nostalgia going on there.
And also it doesn't have great buzz.
But I think that's goes back to what I was saying earlier, where I do think, if people are being given a choice between Birds of Prey and a colonoscopy or Birds of Prey and Sonic the Hedgehog.
Did you just equate Sonic the Hedgehog movie to a colonoscopy?
Maybe. No.
We talked a lot about colonoscopies this week.
Well, we're trying to get you used to it since you're now 40, dude.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Coming.
It's not just an exit anymore.
Oh.
Hey.
And now we're off the rails. So, yeah, I heard that the storyline, like the actual script, was kind of like it read like it was written in the 90s and just wasn't updated.
No, I didn't feel that to be true at all. In fact, I think they did a really good job of setting up the premise of like the early video games, where like that takes place on another world, and spoilers, he's an alien. That's why he's a blue hedgehog that can talk. And basically, there's a tribe of creatures that hunt up, because he has this power. That's why he's able to run really fast. He has this like power built up in him, and so he escapes to a safe world, which is Earth.
Earth was his safe world.
Where he makes friends, and they have a wacky adventure together. But of course, the government finds out about him and his power, and they send the evil Dr. Robotnik after him to capture him, and because they think he's an alien. They think it's a terrorist attack the first time his power goes off, and but then Dr. Robotnik just wants his power.
Okay.
Yes. So that's the basic premise of the movie, and yes, the movie ends setting up a sequel. So
of course it does.
So
I heard there was cheering at the end for an after credits
Yes,
scene.
very much so. For those who are,
I didn't look to see who it was, but I can guess which character it was. It's probably one of two characters.
well, if you're a big enough fan of the game, you should know.
Yep.
Should we spoil it? Yes.
Tails? That's what
Okay. I figured it was either that or like Knuckles or the evil Sonic.
They kind of set up Knuckles too in the movie. So yeah, I mean they definitely they set up they definitely set up a sequel where Knuckles and Tails would be in it.
I heard they even dissed Mario too.
I don't know if that was a direct diss at Mario.
If everything, don't go to the mushroom world or the horrible mushroom world or
so after he gets discovered on Earth and is being hunted down, he decides to go to another world, and it's a world where there's no life. It's only filled with mushrooms everywhere and breathable air. And he doesn't want to go because he likes Earth, and basically he ends up with a big fight with Dr. Robotnik at the end, and he forces Dr. Robotnik to go to the mushroom planet. So, yeah. Well, there's no real direct diss at Mario. I thought it was a nod to Mario, but I could be wrong.
Well, a nod and a wink.
Yeah, nothing seems, I don't know, like negative about that.
No. And,
what, it go to the mushroom world where there's no life at all?
But I mean, I think if you grew up playing the games, you'll enjoy the movie. If you like Jim Carrey, you'll like the movie. If you have kids who like the Sonic games, take them, they'll enjoy the movie. So, yeah, I'd highly recommend it. It's a good distraction for an afternoon, and, it's probably maybe one of the best video game movies I've ever seen.
Well, not saying much, but still good.
Definitely better than The Rock and Doom.
Dwayne has very few misses in his career.
That's definitely one of them.
The Rock in what?
The Rock. He was in the Doom movie, not Dune.
Doom.
Yeah.
Doom. Oh, Doom. Yeah, no. There was another Doom movie that came out that was actually much better.
Was there?
Yeah, it's on Netflix right now, I think.
Is there Doom? Really?
Yep.
All right, we'll have to look it up.
I'll look it up. Continue on.
Speaking of Doom and things that are dark, we got our first look at Robert Pattisnon as the Batman in a camera test footage that was released online. And what do you guys think?
Looked like Daredevil with all the red.
Yeah, I didn't get the color palette they were using. Like, it was dark with red, and like you could barely really see it. A lot of people have taken those pictures and brightened them up on the internet. Thank God for the internet. And it does. I don't get the costume personally.
You don't really see much of it, to be honest with you.
You haven't tried to look up the better looking pictures?
Well, I just saw what you see, just the camera test stuff. Like, it's a close up. Like, again, anything you see that's not like a press photo isn't real.
Yeah.
Like, everything looks terrible on those like grainy cell phone things.
Yeah, that's true. But this is a camera test, so I don't think that's a grainy cell phone.
No, but what did you really see? We saw the bat symbol and we saw the bottom part of the cowl.
You saw
am I the only
head? By the end of the clip, it pans up to us.
We never see his ears, which is like the distinctive Batman mark.
Sure you do. Are you sure?
Oh, we did. Yeah, 100%.
I think we do. Oh, you know what?
John?
You're right. You don't. It stops kind of short of
Yeah, intentionally. They're hiding them.
Interesting. Why would they do that?
Surprise. Like I said, they don't show you a lot of it. I mean, I don't know. I thought it looked cool.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, so first off, it's an armored suit again.
It's always gonna be an armored suit.
But hold on, it wasn't so much in the Ben Affleck suit, and I know there's a lot of issues with those two movies, but at the same time, they never draw Batman wearing an armored suit in the comics.
Because it'd be too. Eric Larson talked about this on his Twitter. It'd be too hard to draw it like that every time. Like, of course, Batman's wearing some type of armor and Kevlar. He gets shot at every night.
They kind of just said that it was like a flexible Kevlar that he was wearing,
Right, but it still has to look like he's wearing something. You can't just put cloth on the dude. Be like, oh, it's flexible Kevlar.
Right, but I mean, back to the bulky, angular armor is like, I don't know. I never liked that look, And then, though, again, if you looked at the cleared up pictures, the cowl looks like it's made out of stitched together pieces of leather, which also lends to the Daredevil look a little bit. But again, yeah, doesn't make sense. Like, why is his body in this like high tech looking armor, but his cowl is stitched together pieces of leather? Like,
it was made in China. That's
And again, it looks like he's got big eye holes, which means he's gonna have to wear black makeup around his eyes again. And
well, that would be the right way to do it. If you were really going to do a real Batman.
Well, the thing is, like, some of the artists have done this in the comics, and they have yet to really do it in the movies. They've had it as an extra thing, but where he's got lenses in his cowl.
Yeah, you can't do that in a real movie. You take away an actor, like, especially when an actor's wearing a mask, they emote through their eyes.
Oh, you mean like in the Spider-Man movies?
Yeah, like how Spider-Man's always losing his mask or always taking off his mask. It's exactly what I mean.
Like, I got to keep my identity a secret. Let me take the mask off so I may look at the camera and emote.
Yeah, because that's how you act.
I don't care about them. Yeah, I don't know, but it doesn't make sense either, right? Like, if you're trying to hide your who you are.
Are we really talking about superheroes here?
Yeah.
Like, they don't really exist. So, like, in for a penny, in for a pound.
Hold on, wait, what? They don't exist? What?
Not traditionally.
Oh, man. All right, okay. And then, of course, the other thing that everyone's pointing out about this suit, and I don't know if you noticed it or not, JD, because apparently you only looked at the grainy red footage, that the bat symbol on his chest appears to be made out of pieces of a gun.
I did not notice that.
And
that's kind
so
cool.
they're saying that it's Joe Chill's gun.
Makes sense.
Which is something that Kevin Smith had written into a Batman story he wrote for Detective Number 1000. Jim Lee had done the art, and he had written a story, and that was part of the story that Batman talks about how he used parts of Joe Chill's gun when designing his costume. So even though they have yet to confirm this from the camp making the movie, of course, Kevin Smith is all over this saying, "Oh, yeah, that's a great idea. They really should do that." Yeah,
of course he would.
You know, he's a shameless self-promoter. Exactly. Thank you. So I don't know. Yeah, and I do agree. We really won't know until we see it at least in a preview clip, how we feel about it. But I don't know. So far, I'm not impressed. Sorry.
I want to see it moving. I want to see it in action. I want to see it do something. Like,
yeah,
it's all just teasy.
Not
stuff.
another head down emo Batman shot. Like we've had enough of those. You know, let's see him fighting.
Well, the head down emo Batman is the Batman. Isn't that the Batman we all know and love?
I'd like to see him breakdance.
I'd like to see him do the Pat Tuesday.
No.
You're an Adam West fan, aren't you?
Well, he was the White Knight, as he would tell you. He's not the Dark Knight. So there you go.
Probably would tell you that, actually.
So I'm kind of...
That sounds very on brand.
I'm curious, boys and girls out there, whose Bat costume was your favorite?
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale?
Yeah.
Mine.
Definitely mine.
From Dark Knight. That was my favorite.
It was, they even talked about him needing to make the cowl more flexible so he could turn his head. It was, I liked the realism that they bring into it.
Yeah, but Michael Keaton attributes a lot of his performance to the fact that he couldn't move his head in that costume, which invented what he called the Batman turn, where he'd flourish the cape and he'd have to turn around to look up someone to talk to them. You know?
I'm sure that works really good in a fight.
It looked cool.
Exactly.
It
looked cool.
But,
that was the point.
Yeah.
But I like Christian Bale one. That's my favorite.
All right.
Before we go on, it's called Doom Annihilation. It's live action. It's a movie. It's on Netflix, and it was actually pretty good.
No, and it's rockless, right?
Yes. Yeah. It didn't have any rocks.
All right. So moving on. Speaking of Batman and some of our favorite actors who portrayed them, Kevin Smith has got a new cartoon coming out. It is Masters of the Universe Revelation. It'll be the continuation of the original series, he has said.
I I mean, they've got Orko for crying out loud. I mean,
And
wow.
the voice cast has been announced, and Kevin must have called in every favor he has ever had in Hollywood to put this together. So, starting off, Skeletor will be voiced by Mark Hamill.
It's awesome.
Right there, you're sold.
It's awesome.
Merman, this one shocked me, will be voiced by Kevin Conroy.
Now, Lena Headey as Evil Lynn. I mean, wow, come on.
Liam Cunningham as Man-at-Arms.
Him being also from Game of Thrones and other things.
Chris Wood as Prince Adam and He-Man, of course.
And he played, oh God, I'm gonna blank now. In Supergirl, he played the Daxamite.
Mon-El.
Yes.
Mon-El,
Mon-El
right.
from Supergirl. Yep. Alan Offenmeyer, who was the original voice of Skeletor, Man-at-Arms, and Cringer in the original cartoon, has come back to do the voice of Moss Man in this iteration.
Oppenheimer. Yes. Phil Lamar, who was the voice of Samurai Jack.
And the Martian Manhunter.
Is the voice of Hero. Dedrick Bader, who people might know from the Drew Carey Show, will be the voice of King Randor. And Trapjaw. He's doing double duty.
He was also Batman.
And Sarah Michelle Gellar as Teela. I mean, they got freaking Buffy the Vampire Slayer to do Teela.
They got Henry Rollins to do Triclops.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yes.
And was it Candyman, Tony Todd as Scareglow?
I forgot all these terrible names that the He-Man characters had.
Stephanie as Cringer. Susan Eisenberg, who was the voice of Wonder Woman, is the Sorceress. Alicia Silverstone as Queen Marlena. And now we get to his friends.
How do you get Alicia Silverstone? How do you get these names? Some of these names are like, how in
But then you've got
some of them.
But then you get
why?
Justin Long as Roboto. Of course, Justin Long has been in a lot of Kevin's movies. Jason Mewes, of course, Jay from Jay and Silent Bob will be Stinkor.
Gee, that was typecasting.
Griffin Newmore as Orko. He was I can't think of the character's name from The Tick. The sidekick in The Tick. Arthur. That's it. We have Kevin Michael Richardson, who was the voice of the Joker in the Batman cartoon as Beastman. And of course, no Kevin Smith production anymore is complete without Harley Quinn Smith, his daughter, as Ileana, Tiffany Smith as Andrea, and Cree Summer as Priestess. And there's no picture of Priestess.
Who are those last two?
Tiffany Smith, I think, is a Disney person.
I'm not sure. I know the one's his daughter, but who are they playing? Those names are not familiar to me.
I don't know. Ilena was in the original, I think, but I don't know who Andra was. That might have been from. From looking at this, I'm thinking it's from the comic book.
And same thing with Priestess. I don't remember her in the cartoon. There's no picture at all either, so that might be a character who was created just for this run. So
yeah, this is interesting that he's doing that because there is still the current run of She-Ra on Netflix.
From my understanding, this will not be connected to it at all.
Well, yeah, they can't because the She-Ra one is a completely different universe, and everybody's waiting for He-Man to show up on there, and they know it's not going to be the original.
But they're kind of like set it up at the same time, you know?
Oh, they did. They totally set it up. Like the password she uses to get into the old
Eternia,
is Eternia, and and they finally reemerged into the broader universe now when they brought the Etheria back into the universe. So that's there's a long explanation for that. But the thing is that the Etheria was out of the universe in its own pocket universe for a while. So yeah, that's all set up and everybody's waiting for that. So with this, it's interesting that he's decided to take this from the original because there was another Masters of the Universe 2 that technically was supposed to be a continuation of the original 80s cartoon, but it didn't fare very well because the art style was kind of different.
I think it also
the storyline.
Yeah, I was
was
about to
very
say, I
different.
think it delved away from the original a lot too, and people weren't happy with that. So
Yeah.
So yeah, it's this cast just made me go, what is going on? That he got a lot of these names.
Kevin going to work with his friends.
Yeah, must be nice to be around in Hollywood that long that you can make these kinds of friends.
Him and Adam Sandler.
True.
Yes. See, boys and girls, it shows you don't need real talent. You just need longevity.
And to be cool.
Hey,
What were you going to say, JD?
I say, and to be cool.
Yes.
Be cool to people.
That is a very important thing. So, from one...
Be excellent to each other.
Okay, Ted.
Sorry.
And from one WTF moment on the internet, we bring you another one. It has been announced, this was the story we didn't get to last week, but this was just for John, that there's a new comic coming out that is a crossover of the Transformers and My Little Pony. What?
I am so excited.
They are both Hasbro properties, but I have no idea how you make a story like that work.
Now, we have already had My Little Pony crossover.
We have?
Death Battle has already had, what was it? It was Rainbow Dash versus Starscream. So they already proved out that Transformers and My Little Pony can fight. They had Deadpool and Pinkie Pie, and it was Twilight Sparkle and Raven.
I got nothing.
Nope. This is completely off your reservation.
From the description, it sounds like it's going to be a My Little Pony centric storyline that Optimus Prime kind of guest stars in. But yeah, I just it's weird. Which kind of makes you wonder, as a writing challenge, what are two odd properties you could put together and try to make work?
Oh, you were just using this as a setup for your next poll.
Well,
I have
so regular listeners of the show who've been with us since the beginning know that at least John and I are big fans of the Dresden Files and Jim Butcher, the author, and his other series. What's the name of it, John? What is it? Caldera. Furies of Caldera, I think it is. Is that the one?
He's got 3 series now, but there was only one book in the other one before his divorce happened, and he stopped writing for a while. But it's the Furies of Caldera.
It is Furies. I remember that. So basically, they were talking about weird properties to put together, and you could never make it work. And someone said,
the Codex Alera. That's it. Furies of Calderon.
Yes.
That's it.
Someone had said, well, you could never put together Roman legions and
it was the lost 12th Legion
and Pokemon, and he made it work.
Talent.
Yes. So.
Well, everything that Butcher has done has been on a bet,
a dare.
The character of Bob, the skull, with the knowledge spirit in it. That was a bet from his teacher. His teacher says you should never have a Bob in your storyline because it screws up your story and it makes everything kind of unrealistic. So of course he puts in Bob, like a literal spirit named Bob, into his story, and it turns out to be one of the greatest characters of all time.
That's such a strange comment that a teacher would say that.
Well, no, I mean the teacher was saying because it's a trope. Right? It's a well-used trope in most of the TV series these days. There's always that one person that knows everything, you know?
Oh, okay. They called it Bob? I never heard that before.
Right. Well, yeah. So they call it a Bob in literature. But in Arrow, it was, what's-her-face, or Overwatch, or whatever her name was. Damn it.
Oracle Ripoff.
No, it was Arrow's wife.
Felicity.
Yeah, Felicity.
Felicity Smoke.
So, they ever have trouble and boom, she'll put some tech together, whatever, and it's Vibe in Flash.
Right.
So the teacher was saying you should never do that because it's too worn out. You should be a better writer than to have to rely on a deus ex machina like that. So Dresden put one in and made it work.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
But the Codex Alira was the other thing where it's like the lost 12th Legion, and like you said, like Pokemon or spirits or something, and he put it together and it was like an award-winning series.
So I've got this like dream idea to not reboot, but to continue Quantum Leap as the fugitive, and as Sam Beckett is Richard Kimball, and Project Quantum Leap is trying to bring him back. So now he has to leap through time, righting what's right, once went wrong, while on the run from the project that he created.
Huh. There you go. That's an interesting one.
Yeah, it'll never get to happen, but it was never going to happen anyway. But yeah, that's a dream project.
Huh. Cool.
I got a good one. I'd like to see I'd like to see Sherlock and Tony Shalhoub. Monk. Yeah, Monk meets Sherlock.
Oh, okay. That's more of a definite crossover. So wait, do you mean like Sherlock in the modern version that's on CBS or whatever, on regular TV?
No,
BBC one?
No, yeah, the BBC one.
So Sherlock Holmes from the traditional setting, not the modernized version. Okay.
Well, the modernized version, that's with Cumberbatch. That wasn't, that's a modernized version of Sherlock.
Oh, it is? I've never watched the BBC.
Oh, it's really good. You would like it.
Yeah, dude, you gotta see that. But given how Cumberbatch plays that character and given Monk's proclivities, they would annoy the crap out of each other. It would be awesome.
Oh, yeah. They would hate each other.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
It'd make for some good TV.
Huh. Okay. All right, so let's think. What are two out there properties could you combine and make a good story? How about, we'll say, oh, man, I'm drawing a blank. I just had an idea and I drew a blank.
What about Stargate and the CW?
Oh, you mean like the Berlanti
and the DC?
The Berlantiverse and Stargate?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
House and the X-Files, where he has to cure an alien.
Jesus.
Oh my God.
I was making a joke, but I would actually watch that
joke. I'm sure there's other stuff that's way out there.
Yeah, no, that's true. Okay, how about Family Guy and the X-Men?
A comedy in the tone of Family Guy with superheroes? Yeah, that would be awesome, actually. And I'm surprised there's nothing like that.
All right.
How about the Greatest American Hero and literally everything else?
Maybe. My problem with I remember loving that show when I was a kid, but then going back as an adult and how quickly that joke gets old in the show.
Which joke? That he couldn't fly,
he
or
didn't
that
know how to use his powers? Yeah.
Well, he eventually learned most of everything.
Eventually, yeah, but it was just yeah. It gets old pretty quick. Have you ever tried to rewatch it?
Yeah. So there are certain episodes that actually still hold up, but they did. I mean, it was that was the 80s too, right? Or
late 70s, early 80s.
Late 70s, yeah. So I mean, it's got some tropes from that era, but they could clean it up a little bit and it would still be good.
Didn't they try to reboot it a few years ago and it didn't quite take?
They did. It was only a couple years after it ended. It was The Greatest American Heroine.
No, I think they recently just did it.
Yeah, they were.
I've never heard of that.
They were working on it. It was supposed to come out, I thought, last year, and it never happened.
Right?
Yeah,
okay.
So there's a pilot sitting somewhere of a reboot.
Must suck.
Yeah.
Well, The Greatest American Heroine wasn't that great either. So
yeah, it was wasn't it an Indian American actress that they got to play the main role?
Oh, I know. I got it. The Berlantiverse and Oz.
Wait. And
which Oz are you talking about?
The prison.
Oh, Wait, are you saying? Wait, is that because the two characters? Was it? Weren't two of them on?
Well, they have a prison. Well, no, I have no idea. No, I'm just thinking it'd be cool to have like a DC prison show, like something closer to what the Suicide Squad actually is, rather than the Crapfest movie, like about just horrible people, villains, like waiting to get out, like something that takes place in Belle Reve. That'd be badass.
No, I gotta look something up here because it was.
If they're, I'll take your word for it if they are. I have no idea.
No, I like that idea.
What is it? No, there was two characters. It's Captain Cold and.
No, they were on. They were on Prison Break.
Okay.
Right, and that's a story of somebody broke out of prison and they're.
The show, the title pretty much explains the show.
Whereas you're talking about these are people in prison.
In prison.
Right. What they're
like supervillains in prison.
Right.
And like the yeah.
Right. Like the Orange is New Black.
Oh.
Or Oz. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got one. Fast and the Furious and Transformers.
No.
No.
And then they transform while they're driving them, and they get killed because they get squished up in the mission.
You could only hope. But it would make some of their stunts actually viable.
Yes, it would.
Those movies are so
man.
All right.
Yeah, we beat this.
We did beat it to death. All right.
What do you think, everybody?
Yeah, let us know in the comments down below or on Twitter at Superhero Speak. So we'll wrap it up for the week. You guys have any recommendations for our audience, John?
No, I got nothing. Well, okay, I'll give you this one. I started watching the. Oh crap! I'm gonna have to look this up again. I was going through some more anime. I'm looking for something for something else because this is a very dry season. And just give me 1 second here. There we go. So the Ancient Magus's wife or bride, the Ancient Magus's bride. It's actually
Sounds like pornography.
No, it's not hentai. Okay, there are no tentacles, but it's actually pretty good. It's not like up to your snuff, JD, for titles, but the story is actually pretty good. Yeah, it's not. There's no fighting or anything. It's just a really nice character-driven story.
Cool. Interesting. And how about you, JD?
I got a pre-launch going on for the Books of Jericho box set. If you ever thought about reading my books, now you can get 3 of them for $1. And the book's officially launched next Tuesday, so if you want to jump in on the pre-order for only $1, that'd be cool. Price goes up to $7 after that. So 3 books for $1. You could see what I'm doing. Be fun.
Oh, cool.
All right. Cool. Well, I will recommend, make sure you go to superheroespeak.com and check out the show every week, plus some comic book reviews. We've got a bunch more coming up from our good friend D Square, and I actually have a couple reviews that will be going up this week for a Spider-Man book that came out. And on that note, I will also recommend that you go see Sonic, especially, like I said, you got kids that like the game, you grew up playing the game, or you like Jim Carrey, I think you'll like the movie. So, alright, on that note, boys and girls, as always, thanks for listening. Don't let your cake be caught in the door. Have a good week.